Okay, am I audible now? Yep. Hey everyone, welcome to the session. We are going to continue the object-oriented programming today. So, welcome to the second class of LLD, and here we are going to learn object-oriented programming. Okay, so we are going to go into other details of object-oriented programming today. Today we will not be learning design principles, by the way, just to give you an idea. The title of the class is wrong. The only thing we are going to discuss today is object-oriented programming 2. And we will try to finish object-oriented programming today. Uh, we will be starting in 3 more minutes. Let me see if anyone has any questions till now. We have almost 100 people who have not joined the session yet, who joined the last session but haven't joined this one yet. So let us wait 2 more minutes. Sagar, I will answer all these questions related to license, etc. when I start the session, okay? I think in the last class we had somewhat around 200 people. So only 100 have joined. Today is Friday as well, yes. So that is why attendance will be low. Correct. Today is Friday as well. Yes, Sriram, that is a new feature. Prince, no prerequisites, okay? In the scalar session, we're going to cover everything from scratch. Don't worry. Sriram, I use Apple Notes app, the default one that comes with iPad. There is another very good one that many instructors at Scalar use, but I don't use that. It is Is my screen visible? Is right? Awesome. Today I'm using a different way to cast, so there might be some issue. So do let me know if there are some problem. Yes, the background image is a room of Doraemon. So yeah, the back the background image is room of Doraemon. Okay, cool. So let us start with the agenda for today. What are we going to learn today? In the very in the very first class of LLD, we had just built an intuition of object-oriented programming, right? That what are the different programming paradigms? We learned about procedural programming. Then we discussed what are the problems with procedural programming, and then we moved into object-oriented programming. We discussed, yes, Vishal, I will try this time, okay? We discussed the intuition behind object-oriented programming, that why might it be helpful? It is more natural. It is how we humans think, okay? So in the last class, we had just built an intuition around object-oriented programming. We just discussed a few basic fundamentals, which were abstraction and encapsulation, right? We also discussed abstraction and encapsulation in the last class. And after that, we discussed how it was getting implemented, how encapsulation was getting implemented, how was it getting implemented? Using classes, right? And for a class, we basically discuss nothing but just creating a class and creating an object of the class. Okay. So what are we going to discuss today? Today we will discuss the agenda for today is to finish object-oriented programming. Not seeing my screen. Uh, is everyone else able to see my screen? We can, right? So probably Ravi Babu, please just refresh. Okay. Cool. So the agenda for today is to discuss the next two pillars of object-oriented programming, which is your polymorphism and inheritance. Okay, we will discuss these two pillars of object-oriented programming. Okay. Other than discussing these two pillars, I mean, Sagar, everything will happen practically. Don't worry. Okay, you don't need to ask that question even. Okay, cool. After that, we will discuss a few terms as well. Okay, related to object-oriented programming. Till now, we have discussed a class and an object. We will discuss about state. I mean, there are a few terms. So, state and access modifiers. So, I think those are the two terms that we will talk about. Okay. In fact, we will start our class by discussion of these. Marty will come, okay? Will come, don't worry, okay? After that, we will discuss that, okay, these are a few basics, but there are some other concepts as well other than inheritance. Many people who, when they start with object-oriented programming, right? Many people, when they start with object-oriented programming or they are new in OOP world, they think that the solution of every problem on object-oriented programming is inheritance. Okay, whenever they try to make an object-oriented programming design, they do inheritance. They somehow end up using inheritance and try to come up with a solution. But we will learn today why inheritance is actually not good. Why sometimes you should not go with inheritance. In fact, mostly you will not go with inheritance. Okay, inheritance is often overused for the wrong reasons. There we will talk about interfaces. Okay, so today we will also introduce interfaces, and we will introduce one other term which is abstract classes. Okay. And after this, if we have some time, we will try to do one case study where we will try to do an object-oriented design for a bird. Okay, we will try to do this. I think this would have also been done in the very first class, right? In the LLD 101 that would have happened at the start of the course. So we will try to again do the same, but probably in more depth, because now you have a lot more concepts with you, a lot more understanding with you. Okay. Cool. Yes, Prakash, don't worry. Those things will happen, okay? Everything will get covered at the correct parts of the course. Interview questions, there is a big part of this, okay? Okay, awesome. Now, quick things before we start with the today's class. The software that I use when I write the code is IntelliJ IDEA, okay? IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate. It is an IDE that is created by a company called JetBrains. Okay, and JetBrains is a very famous company in the world of IDE. I mean, for example, they have built Android Studio. If you have ever created an app using Android, the IDE that you use, Android Studio, is actually also created by JetBrains. It's a very popular IDE. Okay, JetBrains doesn't just have an IDE for Java. IntelliJ IDEA is for Java, but they also have IDE for other languages as well. PyCharm for Python. Okay, CLion for C and C++. Similarly, RubyMine for Rails. Every language. Okay, they have an IDE. Similarly, for Golang, they have an IDE called Goland. Okay, something like that. It's a very popular IDE. Just to give you an idea of how popular it is, when I was coding at Google also, most of the engineers actually use IntelliJ IDEA for their Java code bases, CLion for their C, C++ code bases. Similarly, when I was at CureFit, we were using the same IDE. Similarly, when I was at Shipsy, again, we were using IntelliJ IDEA. Okay. Now, why am I saying this? For every scalar student, we are giving a 6-month license for IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate. 6-month license for IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate. So basically for JetBrains IDE, you can use that license key for getting any IDE of JetBrains. If you are a Python person, you can use PyCharm. If you are a C, C++ person, you can use CLion. For any IDE of JetBrains, if you are a Java person, use IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate. So that license key is going to be valid for any one of these IDEs. Now, we have already started sending the license keys. There are around 800, 900 students total across all the batches. So it will take around 3 to 4 hours for everyone in this class to get those license keys, okay? But don't worry, all of you will get the license keys. It is getting sent one by one, okay? So if you have not gotten it, no need to send a mail to support, no need to WhatsApp me. Just wait for some time. You will receive an email very soon. Okay. Yes, Sumit. So the license key will be valid for your email. So even if you change the computer, even if you buy a new computer, the license key will still work. Okay. Sanket, okay, now let us, if you code in multiple languages, I will suggest everyone to download IntelliJ IDEA. Even if you're coding in PyCharm, right? Even if you're coding in Python, you can use IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate. Okay, it's perfectly okay to use IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate for Python as well, for C++ as well. So this IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate is an umbrella for every language, Python, C++, Golang. So even if you are not sure about the language that you're going to use, just go with IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate and download the plugin for your language. Okay, download plugin for your language. Okay, so my recommendation to everyone will be go with IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate. Okay, yes, Nirmal, it has a very good Kotlin support. It's the industry standard. Okay. Okay, by the way, in the email we actually did one mistake. We had written that the expiry date is 31st May. That is wrong. You will be getting a follow-up email very soon, and the expiry date is 30th June. Okay. It is actually not going to expire at 30th June, to be very honest with you. But the reason is that if by 30th June it doesn't get claimed, so JetBrains doesn't assign us new coupons. Okay, if we have to get the new coupons for the new batches, right? They ask us to first finish the earlier batches. So if a person hasn't claimed their coupon, we reserve the right to send it to someone else. Okay, so please, I will highly appreciate if all of you use the coupon, because I mean, when we have a deal with JetBrains, they said, right, this matters to us, that how many of those coupons get used. Okay. Yes. So this license can be activated till 30th June. After that, the day you activate the license, it will be valid for 6 months from date to 6 months from day of activation. Okay. Yes. Amit, everyone will receive the email. That is what I just told. Please wait for up to 3 to 4 hours to get that. Okay. No, Utkarsh, I think you will be able to use the same one. Okay, you will be able to use the same one. Manish, NetBeans, I don't think it is that popular these days. Best is to go with IntelliJ IDEA. It's the more industry standard now. Cool. Okay, perfect. Shubham, the free version doesn't have good support for things like Spring Boot, etc. Okay, Spring Boot, your class diagrams, those things are not supported in the free version. Okay, so you will see a lot of things. Sumit, I think you will get, 6 months from the day of activation. That's it. Okay. Cool. Will IntelliJ charge after December 2? No, 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 Rakesh. I mean, you are not going to be charged. You are not going to use your credit card. Nothing is going to be there. Okay. So don't worry. Anyways, should we start? Clear with the license? Okay, awesome. Perfect. Now let us start the class. So in the last class, we had ended by something called objects. What were objects? What were objects? Objects were instance of a class. Okay. Objects were instance of a class. Okay. How did we create an object? How did we create an object? We created an object like, let us say, in the last class, we had taken an example of, I think, student. So student S is equal to new student. Okay. And then we had accessed the multiple attributes and methods of the student. Yes. But now let us try to understand what this new student is. What is actually happening here? When I call new, what exactly is happening? What is the student bracket? This student bracket is known as a constructor. Okay. Now, what is a constructor? A constructor allows you to create object of a class. Okay. Now, what can you consider a constructor? You can consider a constructor. A constructor is like a method. A constructor is like a method. It's very much like a method. Okay. And what does it return? It returns an object of the same class. Is that making sense? Constructor is also like a method. Internally in the constructor, you can do anything. But what does the constructor do? Internally, it returns an object of the same class. Okay. Now, did we ever code the constructor? In the last class, did we code the constructor? Not really. We never coded the constructor. So if you see, we had written a student class like this. There was a student class. In this student class, we had a few attributes. I think there was an int age, there was a string name, there was a, what were the other things? String batch. No Shanavas, so just give me some time, okay? And there was, I think, a status as well. And there were a few methods. For example, let us say change batch, okay? Similarly, pause course, so on and so forth, okay? But when I did, let us say student s is equal to new student, what did I just tell you? I told you that this student is a constructor, right? And constructor is like a method. But do you see this method anywhere? Are you able to see this method anywhere? No. Most programming languages, Kamini, your question will get answered. Most programming languages have something called a default constructor. Okay. Now, what is a default constructor? Even if you don't code a constructor, if you don't write a constructor yourself in a class, this default constructor is only available if you don't write a constructor yourself. If you don't write a constructor yourself in a class, language creates a default constructor which returns a new object of that class with the value of all attributes as the default value of their type. Let me explain this sentence. Okay. So now, in this class, did we code our own constructor of the student? In this class, did we write our own constructor of the student? No, we didn't write our own constructor of the student. So Java created a default constructor. When you will call this constructor, a new object of the student will be created, and the value of all the attributes will be the default value of that data type. For example, what is the default value of int? It is 0. So it will be 0 by default. What is the default value of a string? It is empty string. Okay, so it will be an empty string. I don't think string is null. It is an empty string. Okay, but some languages have a string as null. So in those languages, it will be null. But as far as I know, in Java, it is an empty string. So it will be an empty string. So batch will be an empty string. If there is some other type, for example, let us say there is a batch B. What is the default value of an object? It is null. So is the purpose of a default constructor clear? What does a default constructor do? A default constructor does nothing but returns a new object of that type with the value of all the attributes set as their default value. Let me just confirm. Java string default value. Java string default value is null. Yes. Okay, because in Java, string is also nothing but an object. So the default value of Java string is also null. Okay. Is this clear with everyone? Perfectly clear? Okay, awesome, cool. So this is what a default constructor is. Now let us say I want to create my own constructor. I don't want to set the attributes of these to their default value, but I want to set the attributes to something that I want to do. So I will have to write my own constructor. How will I do that? See, student. Okay, this is the class. And in the class, I will still have the attributes int age, string, name, string match. Okay. For now, ignore the methods. There are multiple methods as well. And let us say I have to write a constructor. So what did I say? A constructor is like a... Yes, Manish. Constructor is like a method. So we define a constructor like a method, but in the constructor, we don't have to specify the return type. Why do you think in a constructor, we don't have to specify the return type? Why? In a constructor, why don't we have to specify a return type? Because a constructor always returns a object of the same class, so you don't have to specify the return type. Okay, so a name of a constructor is same as the name of the class. So I will write the constructor as student. Okay, then it is like a method, and then internally the constructor can do whatever you have to do. For example, it will say age is equal to 20, name is equal to, let us say, Naman, and batch is equal to what we say, let us say, April. Cool. Okay, now in a constructor we don't even have to return. In a constructor we don't even have to return. By default, what will a constructor do? So as soon as you call a constructor, it will create a new object. It will create a new object. So let us say there is a new object of student that is created, and in that object it will can you see my screen? How can you see my screen? I myself cannot see my screen. Okay, can you see the screen now? Can you see the screen now? Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. So what does it do? It creates a new object of the student, and whatever you do here, whatever attributes you call, this age is the age of the new object. Okay, this name is the name of the new object. This batch is the name of the new object. And as soon as the work of the constructor is done, it will return this new object by default. Is this clear with everyone? How a constructor works? A constructor automatically creates a new object of that class, and then whatever you do, these attributes that you set, they are set in that new object. Okay, quick question. Can I print something from a constructor? Can I print something from a constructor? Yes, constructor is like a method. Do whatever you want to do from here. You can print I am constructor. Clear? So I can do anything. It is like a method. There is a question by Maruti. Isn't this required? Maruti, what is required? Oh, this. Yeah, you don't need to write this. Okay, you don't need to write this. I mean, this keyword. Okay, I will introduce this keyword very soon. Okay. We can also return something else. No, Manish. A constructor cannot have a return statement because a constructor always implicitly returns the new object that it has created. So we cannot return anything from the constructor ourselves. Okay, it will be an error. Is it fine? Yes, Sagar. Correct. Awesome. Now, a constructor is like a method. So a method can also have, a method can have a return type. A method has a name. The name of a constructor is always going to be student, the same as the name of the class. But what is the other thing that a constructor has, that a method has? A method also has a parameter. Correct. So now let us say in the student class, we want to create a constructor with the parameter. So this is a new student class. It has age, it has string name, and it has a gender. Okay. Now it has a constructor. So the name of the constructor is also student. And let us say it takes two parameters, age and name. So I can have a constructor that also takes the parameter. Okay. So what will I do? What would I want to probably do in this constructor? What would I want to do with this constructor? Correct. I say that in the new object that the constructor is creating, So let us say this is the new student object that has been created by the constructor. Let us say I want the age of that student object to be this age. So should I do age is equal to age? Should I do this? No. Why? Because what is this age variable referring to? What is this age variable referring to? It is referring to the parameter. So there is a problem. But what is the age variable that I want to refer to? What is the age parameter that I want to refer to? I want to refer to this one. So I will have to say this dot age. When I use the this keyword, it means for the object, okay, for the current object. So this dot age is equal to age will say that in this age, in the age that is there on the right side, put the value of this parameter. Is this clear with everyone? Because many people do this mistake. Okay. Similarly, this dot name is equal to name. Okay. Cool. Now, let us say I have written this code. This is the code of the student class. After this, I say student S is equal to new student. Do you think this code will work? Do you think this code will work? No, this code will not work. Why? Why will this code not work? Because there is no constructor that has no parameters. There is no constructor that has no parameters. Okay. And why is default constructor not there? I mean, like, why have you not created a default constructor? Because a default constructor is created only and only if I don't have any of my own constructors. Is that clear? Is that clear with everyone? Here, there is no default constructor because I have myself written a constructor. If you see above, only and only if you don't write a constructor, then only the default constructor will be created. Okay. Sagar, when I will introduce the concept of overriding, then I will answer your question. Okay. So here we had written our own constructor. So that is why the default constructor was not created. A default constructor is created only and only if you don't write your own constructor. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. So out of the around 200 people that are there in the session, how many of you are absolutely clear with this? Okay. Can I have a method with same name as class which have a return time? No, Sagar. By default, a method with the same name as the class is considered as a constructor. Okay, cool. Manish has raised hand. Manish, do you have a doubt? Do you want to be unmuted? Okay, let me unmute Manish. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. So when we are passing the parameters into the constructor, like age, comma, name, to avoid the confusion and to avoid the confusion with the variables or the attributes in the constructor, can we use different names in the parameters?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So definitely you can. I mean, it's like a method. So you can have a constructor or student which says new age, okay, and new, let us say, name, okay, or anything, okay, and then internally you will say age is equal to new age. Then this will work perfectly fine. Okay.
And what is the general practice?
What is the general?
The name or to use the same names?
I mean, normally people end up using the same attributes because the name of the attributes make the code much more readable, right? So often people end up using the attributes of the same name and then using this dot something because for a programmer, this makes the code more readable. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Now, is there a question? Okay. Now, obviously, so now let us see this example. Here we set the value of age. Okay. Here we have set the value of name, but have we set any value of gender? No, right? So for gender, it will be the default value of string, which will be none. Clear? So for the attributes that we don't set, there is a default value. Okay, method name can have same constructor name. Shanavas, no. Okay, I mean, like by default, if a method is named as the name of the class, it is considered as a constructor. A constructor is nothing but a method with the name of the class. Same. Okay. Okay, awesome. As a recommendation, should we use constructors with parameters or not? Because if we extend the class, we will have to update the parameters as well. Ankit, normally you do use constructors with the name of the parameters. Okay. You do use constructors with the name of the parameters. If you add more attributes, your constructor will increase. Okay. Yes, I mean, like, Ankit, I got the idea, but yes, in real life, it is used a lot. In real life, you end up using constructors a lot with the name of the attribute. So that's perfectly okay. Okay. Yes, then the constructor will need updation and also the client code will need to change, but that's okay. Okay, now let me quickly answer the doubts and then we will go ahead. What if we don't have default value set? I think that question has been answered. I don't think so. Okay, correct. Correct. If we use different names than this. Correct, Sumit. Obviously, the only reason of using this attribute was this was used to only, what we say, remove ambiguity. That was the only reason of this. If there is no ambiguity, you don't need to use this. Okay, cool. Cool. Can we also not have a default value for a parameter? No, Manish, in Java you cannot have a default value for a parameter. If you use different names in parameters, then correct, that has been answered. No, I think in Java you cannot provide a default parameter value. It's only a feature of Python. I tried creating a method with same name as class. It is not giving return type. So Sagar, did you create something like this? Public int student. Is that what you tried to do? Something like this? Oh, does that work up? I don't know if that should work. But okay, if that works out, so probably that might be allowed. Okay, but don't do this. Don't do this. Okay, you might end up with multiple situations. Okay, how many constructors can we make? We can make any number of constructors in a class. Okay, we can make any number of constructors in a class. If we use different names in parameters, correct, that is answered. Can we send a whole array in constructor? Yes, Prince. The value of the parameters of constructor can be any parameters that are allowed. Ideally, how many arguments should be passed to a method? Anant, we will discuss this in design patterns. Okay, we will discuss this in design patterns on how many parameters should be passed. Okay. Why would one create more than one constructor? Manish, probably, for example, if you want to create a new student by only setting their name, if you want to create a new student by setting their name as well as by setting their age, if you also want to create a student by either setting their name, age, and let us say gender, so probably 3 constructors will be needed. Okay, so there are multiple use cases for that. Yes. Okay, so in C++ it is not allowed. In C++ it is not allowed to create a method with the name of a constructor. In Java it might be allowed. Okay. Student S is equal to new student. Why this not work in above example? Okay, so Jayesh, let me again explain this. Let me open the code. Can you all see my screen? Oh, cool. Perfect. Now, let us say this is the code. Now let me just write a new package folder constructor. Okay. In this, let me just copy the same main and student here. Let me go to the student class, and what do I do in student? In the student, I create my own constructor. So I create a constructor of student. Okay, and this constructor of student takes a age. Okay, and also takes a name and takes an address. Okay, and what does it do? It says this dot this dot name is equal to name, and this dot address is equal to address. Cool. Okay. Now, uh, now is there now my question is, do you think a default constructor will be created? Do you think a default constructor will be created? No, because I have created my own constructor, a default constructor will not be created. So let us quickly go here and let us see. Do you see that this code is showing an error? It is saying this constructor is not there. So now a default constructor is not there. Jayesh, is your question answered? Because I have created my own constructor, Java will not create a default constructor. Yes, correct. Okay, so out of the 200-ish people, is everyone clear with what? Then how other values? Okay, so Jayesh, you are asking how will I set the other values of the of this particular thing, of the object? How I can fetch default value? I mean, Jayesh, let me unmute you. Let me unmute you, Jayesh. Okay. Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
Naman. If my voice is audible,
Yes, you are.
I want to ask how I can fetch the state value. Let's suppose that there is a state is a null. Default
Yes.
value of the state of batch is a null, correct?
Yes.
Let's suppose because I already made a constructor of the name and the address. Now
Mm-hmm.
I want to else dot state is equals to active. Let's suppose line number 9 which you wrote, correct? I
Yeah.
need to set it.
So you can do that. That will work, right? So the only thing is that while constructing, now you need to give two things: name, let us say Karthik, okay,
Mhm.
and what is the second thing? It is address, right? So the address of Karthik is scalar verse, okay. That is the only thing. Everything
Okay.
else is same. So you just don't need to do this now. Everything like the code is working fine. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That is the only difference. Okay. So for example, here I will say name is Naman, and I don't have my address, so let us say null. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, then I don't need to specify the name here. The code will work. Let me just run this code. It's perfectly fine. The only thing is, now to create an object, you need to pass these two values. After that, you can access any of the attribute as normal.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so is your doubt answered?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Uh, okay. We can create a default constructor manually. Yes. I mean, Samrat, I will come to this. So now, let us say you want to create your own constructor. Okay, and obviously it is also a default constructor. Okay. Uh, why do you do like this now? What did I do, Karthik? It's like you can create randomly. It's like you can create read-only properties which are not allowed to be modified. Yes, it's in there. I mean, like, don't worry, we are seeing all these things very soon. Okay, Karthikeyan, let me unmute you. Hey, Karthikeyan.
Actually, yeah, hi, Naman.
Yeah.
Can't we directly pass Karthik and address? Why? What is that name? Colon Karthik. Won't.
Okay, so this name colon thing is not a code. It is not. It's not a code. Okay, it's not code. It's a feature of IntelliJ. It is just showing you the name of the attribute. Otherwise, to see what was the attribute, I would have to open this class and do this, right? Okay, if the first attribute is a name, the second attribute is an address.
So you didn't provide that.
No, this is not code. This is not something that I have written. Okay, it is just a visualization. It is not a code that is written.
Okay.
Let me show this to you. Let me open this file. Uh, just give me a moment. Open in Finder. Okay, and do you see that there is no name here?
Oh, okay, got it.
No
got
name.
it.
It is just a utility that IDE has provided to you. Okay.
Got it. Got it.
Okay. So yeah, Sumit, you can see it here. So let me just go to open in Finder and then see this. I cannot zoom it up, but if you just,
Okay, so the
I mean,
normal
people can
code.
see it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so normal
in
code is like this only. Okay.
yes, I mean this is why you use IDs, right, for these kind of features.
Got
Okay.
it. Got it. Got it. Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Cool. Uh, okay. Now, anyone has any questions? Suppose I want everybody's default address to be scalar verse if they didn't mention. How will I do it? Very good question. So now Sagar has a question. He wants everyone's default address to be scalar verse. So here's two solutions. The very first solution is in the constructor of the student. He can say this dot address is equal to scalar verse. Simple. He doesn't even need the value of the he doesn't even need the value of address, right? He doesn't even need to take the address in the parameter. So is that first question clear? Is that first solution clear? The second way to do that is, let us say you want the default value to be scalar words unless someone gives an address by the constructor. So you can go in the class and here say address is equal to scalar words. So this is going to be the default value of the address. But if the constructor sets a different value, the different value will be used. Is it clear, Sagar? Awesome. Now, anyone has any questions? If you have no questions, say a no. I need at least 50 people to say a no. If you have no questions, say a no. Some people are still saying a yes. And if you are saying a yes, please tell the doubt. Okay. How can we set a default value as a parameter? Sandeep, in Java, you cannot. In Java, there is no value to, in Java, there is no way to set a default value of a parameter. Okay. In a method. Okay. The only place where you can set a default value is in the attributes. Correct. Constructor has a param as address. Yes. Correct. I mean, like if a constructor needs an address, you have to give an address. Now, one last thing. Can I have multiple methods with the same name in a programming language? Yes, right? Similarly, you can have multiple constructors as well. Here I have another constructor of student and it takes nothing. Okay, it takes nothing and does nothing. Is that valid? Is that valid? A constructor of a student that takes nothing, that does nothing. Now you can create student in two ways. Now either you can create a student in this way, or let us say create a third student, student Prakash is equal to new student. Both of these will work. Okay. Now I have two ways to create a student. Fine with everyone? Yes, Tanajit. Unless you have a static methods, but we will learn static methods later. Okay. Fine. Okay. So hopefully everyone is clear. Now we can go to the next topic. Now what is happening? In such cases, the difference between with the yes, Manish. The only difference will be the number of parameters. Okay. Karthikeyan, coming to that topic, don't worry. Okay, I have all of these topics listed. So my today my screen sharing is actually not working. Can you see the screen? Okay, awesome, cool. Now let us go ahead. Okay. Now there is another type of constructor. Till now we have discussed one type of constructor, which is a default constructor. Okay. And obviously we have discussed our own constructors if we create them. Okay. But there is another type of constructor which is known as copy constructor. Now what is this copy constructor? A copy constructor is nothing but a constructor that creates a new attribute, that creates a new object by copying the value of attributes from another object of the same class. Okay. So what is this? It is very popularly used. It's a very common thing, and we will see it at multiple places when we will learn design patterns. But how do you create a copy constructor? So let us say I have a student. Okay. So this is a student class, and let us say, yes, very much like that, Priyanshu. So I had a constructor of student via the name and address. But let us say if I want to create a new student, but I don't need to specify the values of it. I say I already have an existing student. I just want to copy the values from that student to this student. So I can create a constructor of student. And what will be the parameter that will go inside it? What will be the parameter of this constructor? It will be another object of the student. It will be another object of the student. Student, let us say other. Okay. So what will I do? I will say this dot age is equal to other dot age. Similarly, this dot name is equal to other dot name. Similarly, this dot address is equal to other dot address. Is this clear with everyone? So basically copying the value of all the attributes of the other object into the same object, into the new object. Okay. Yeah, I'm like, is it a shallow copy? I'm like, so I'm just doing one level of copy, Devesh. I'm only doing one level of copy. Whatever is the current set of attributes, I'm just copying it as it is. Okay. Okay. Preet, I will get to that particular thing very soon. I will get to that thing very soon. Ankit, your question will also get answered very soon. Let me share the screen. Okay, can you see the code? Okay, cool. Now, let us say for a student, I create a third constructor and this will be a copy constructor. So this is a constructor of the student, and as it is a copy constructor, it will take an object of student type. And it is a convention that if you create a constructor of a copy constructor, you name the other attribute as, what do you name the other object as? Other. You call it other. It sounds much better. It sounds more easier to explain as well. Okay. Copy constructor. And what do? You say, so current age. So for example, the age or whatever this is, right? Name is equal to other dot name. Address is equal to other dot address. Same. Name is equal to other dot name. Address is equal to other dot address. Batch is equal to other dot batch. Okay. Similarly, email is equal to other dot email. PSP is equal to other dot PSP. Email is equal to other dot email. PSP is equal to other dot PSP. And similarly, you can have state is equal to other dot state. Okay. Other dot state. Okay. Cool. Now, why did I not write this? Why did I not write this? Because this was used only for ambiguity. Here, is there any ambiguity? Is there any other name attribute? No. There is no other name attribute, right? So why use this? Okay. All attributes are mandatory. I mean, Manish, then only you will call it as a copy constructor, right? Otherwise, how is it a copy constructor? It's just like a normal other constructor. Okay. Since constructor is also a method, can we call it in some other method? Since constructor is also a method, can we call it in some other? Yes, Shubham, we can. And we will see that happening in design patterns. In design patterns, basically, we will call constructors from other methods. So wait for that. Okay. So Jayesh, I mean, you don't copy from this to other, okay? Because this is the new object. These attributes, the name, the address, the batch, these are the attributes of new object. These are the attributes of the new object, whereas these are the attributes of the old objects. Okay. And just to clarify, here we can say this dot name, etc., etc. Okay? Now, quick things. There is a concept called deep copy versus shallow copy. Okay, this is equal to other. Can't we do this? I mean, Vijay, that will not work. Okay, internally there is no by default this thing. Okay. Okay. Let me show this example. Let me first show this example. Then I will go to deep and shallow copy. So if I go to main, let us say I want to create a copy of Karthik. So what will I say? I will say student Karthik copy is equal to new student, and I will give Karthik to it. So let us just see the student. Okay. Let us just see the student. So let me just debug it. So now Karthik is copying Karthik. Okay. Not sure if you can see this now, but so if you see here, I mean, can you see the screen? If you see, we have two objects. One is Karthik. What is the address of Karthik? The address of Karthik is 681. What is the object of Karthik copy? It is 684. So are these two different objects? Are these two different objects? So it is a copy. Okay. But let us see the attributes inside it. The name is the same as this name. Address is the same as this address. Email is same as this email. So it is a copy constructor. First of all, what a copy constructor is that clear with everyone? Okay, perfect. Now, after this, I just wanted to show another thing, which is shallow versus deep. Okay. What is the address of the name? What do you think is the address of the name string? What is the address of the name string in the Karthik? It is 690. What is the address of the name string in Karthik copy? It is 690. So even though I have copied the values, but is it deep copy? I mean, have I even made the copy of the internal things? Not really. Okay. So it is a shallow copy, because even though I have copied the values, but internally inside the values, they might still be using the same thing. So this kind of copy, where I have not really created a, I mean, Saurabh, I will give this example. Okay, I will tell this thing to you very soon. Just give me a moment. This is again not working. Just give me a moment. Let me start the screen sharing. Vignesh, all of these things you will see in design patterns. That is why we are teaching it. Okay. Otherwise, these questions will come in design patterns. So that is why before the design pattern start, we are teaching the object-oriented programming. Okay. Cool. So what do we do? Okay. So here we had one student object. Okay. Cool. So this is one student object. This student object had multiple attributes. They had an age, they had a name, they had an address, and they had a badge. Okay. By creating a copy, I'm saying if this student is at address 100, the copy student will be at some other address, let us say 110. Okay. In that student also, the value of the attributes will be exactly same. Age is equal to this, name is equal to this, address is equal to this. Okay, batch is equal to this. The value of these attributes will same. If the age here was 18, so 18 will be stored where? Where will the number 18 be stored? It will be stored. Manish, those are the ASCII value of the characters. 18 will be stored actually in the object itself. 18 is an integer, so it gets stored within the object. Okay. Similarly, name. Name is a string. So where does a string stored, or where is an object stored? An object is stored at a common place called a heap. So let us say the value of name is stored here, Karthik. Okay. So what will be stored in the object? Then what will be stored in the object? Then what will be stored in the object? In the object, a reference will be stored. So let us say this Karthik is at address 241. So what will be stored here? 241, right? So here it will be stored 241, which is a reference to this. Okay. Now, similarly for address. So let us say address is scalar verse. It is stored here. And let us say this is at position 134. Okay. And there is no patch. Now, when I create a copy, I copy their values. Okay. So now in this thing, age, what is the thing that is going to be stored? In, let us say this is Karthik. This is Karthik copy. What is the thing that will be stored in Karthik copy? In the age, it will be 18. Where is 18 stored? Where is 18 stored? It will be stored here itself. Okay. Name. Name will be, what am I copying? What am I actually copying? I'm just copying the reference. So this is address 241, right? But it is still pointing to the same Karthik. Similarly, this is address 134, which is calling the same address. Okay. Now, quick question. Let us say, so age is deep copy, yes. Now, if I say print Karthik dot age, what will be Karthik dot age? What will be Karthik dot age? That will be printed. It will be 18. After this, if I say Karthik copy dot age is equal to 21, and after this I print Karthik dot age, what do you think will be the age of Karthik? It will be still 18. It will be still 18, because 21 is now going to come here, but 18 is still here, so it will still be 18. Is that clear? This will still be 18. Is that clear with everyone? Okay, perfect. Now, if I say Karthik dot name is equal to, let us say Karthik copy dot name is equal to Naman. Okay. Now what will be the Karthik dot name? What will be Karthik dot name? It will actually still not be Naman. It will actually still not be Naman. Why? Actually, let us see this. I mean, I'm also personally not sure about this. Let us see that. Okay. So if I go to this, okay. Can you see the screen? Can Can you see the screen? Okay, perfect. Now, if I do one thing, let us say here the name of the Karthik is Karthik, right? Cool. So let me just print Karthik dot name. Okay. So let me just have a thing which is constructor copy same values. What is the issue with iPad, Shreena? The presentation thing. Yes, I mean it's an issue with iPad, so I will just it will get resolved in the next class. Don't worry about that. Okay, cool. And after that, let us just say Karthik copy dot name is equal to, let us say, Naman. Okay, and after that I print Karthik dot name. Let us see. Let us run this and let us see. It is printing Karthik. Why? Why is it printing Karthik? I was correct. Why is it printing Karthik? No, it has nothing to do with pass by value or pass by reference. It is basic. It is basic how programming languages work. Okay. So let me show this to you. Can you see my iPad? Can you see my iPad? Okay, cool. Now, what is actually stored in the name? What is actually stored in this name? What is actually stored in the name? In the name, address is stored. In the name, reference is stored. So when I say Karthik copy dot name is equal to Naman, what will be stored in Karthik copy dot name? What will be stored in Karthik copy dot name? It will be address of Naman. It will be address of Naman. What might be the address of Naman? It will be something else. Let us say 171. So now in Karthik copy dot name, it is 171. And which is pointing to Naman. Okay. Whereas it is still Karthik. Is this clear? This is how Java works internally. This is how programming languages work internally. Okay. So, just wanted to tell this because many people will often end up getting asked this question. So, Satyam, again, whenever we talk about objects, right? Whenever we talk about objects, in the memory, the thing that is stored is not the object. The thing that is stored is the address of that particular thing. So, in a copy, it's a completely different thing, right? Here 171 is stored, here 241 is stored. That is correct. That is not the same thing, right? So here I can store 171. So whenever I was assigning something to Karthik copy, it didn't affect Karthik. Is that clear? But Utkarsh, let me show the same example for age. For age, it will have a difference. So let me go to this. So, okay, for age also it will not have a difference. So let us say this is the current age, Karthik.age. Saga, don't worry, I will explain that again. And then I say Karthik copy.age. Sorry, is there any integer in student? In student, I don't have an integer. So let me just put a age. Okay. So int age. Let us say here I say Karthik.age is equal to 18. Karthik.age is equal to 18. So then here, this is thing. So here I have printed Karthik.age. Okay. After that, I say Karthik copy.age is equal to 21. And after that, let me just print Karthik.age. So what do you think the Karthik.age will be? What will be printed? It will be 18. It will be same 18. Let us just run this. 18, 18. Clear till now? So let me again explain this particular funda, what just happened, so that everyone is on the same page. Then we will proceed ahead. Okay, cool. So first thing that you all need to know is how internally object-oriented programming works. In object-oriented programming, when you have primitive data types, what gets stored in the object? When you have primitive data types, what gets stored in the object? The data, the value directly gets stored. Whereas when you have non-primitive data types, not integers, not floats, what gets stored? Address. Address is a better word. Assume address is stored. Because if you will try to make your thought process like this, you will never get a doubt in imagining what will be the exact answer. Okay. Yes, Sumit, address and the reference are the same thing. The only reason why I'm saying address is because more people can relate to this. Assume the address in the memory of that thing is shared. Okay. Now, so when I created Karthik, okay. So Karthik had a age, Karthik had a name, Karthik had an address. Okay. Cool. So, or let us say Karthik only had age and name. So name was Karthik. So age is 18. So what will be stored in the object? Yes, Vasim, we do have in that particular case the other things are correct. So 18 will be stored. And name is a string. So internally, somewhere in the memory, name Karthik will be there. Okay. And this Karthik is, let us say, at address 134. So what will be stored here? Internally in the object. Internally in the object, 134 will be stored. Okay. Now, when I create a copy of Karthik, what gets created? Copy of these values get created. The value that is there in the object. Okay. So Karthik copy will have an age of 18 and Karthik copy will have a name of 134. Okay. So if I change the age of Karthik copy, will it change the age of Karthik? No, not really. The values are different. And if I change the name of Karthik copy, will I change the name of Karthik? No. But if I change something inside the name of the Karthik, then if I change something inside the name of Karthik copy, then will it affect Karthik? Yes. Because if I change something inside the Karthik copy, that means I'm changing something that is there in this address. So then that will affect both. Is that making sense? If I change the thing that is stored there, no problem at all. But if I change something in the address, in the value that is at address, then it will problem. So Karthikeyan, here I just changed the name. Here I told Karthik copy dot name is equal to this. But if I would have done Karthik copy dot name dot add something, then it would have also added to the name of Karthik. Is that making sense? Then it would have also added to the name of the Karthik. Okay, let me repeat this part again. Let me again repeat this part. Okay. Okay. Yes, it is possible to change. Rakesh. So let me get to this example again. Okay. So I have one object, Karthik. In the object, Karthik, I have age, and in age, 18 is stored, and in the name, 134 is stored. Okay. Why is this stored? Because in the memory, this is my memory. Okay. Age is a primitive value. So the primitive values are stored within the object. But name is not a primitive value. It is a object, right? It's an object. So this will be created here. Let us say Karthik. And this would have an address 134. And that is why 134 is here. Now, when you copy the values of Karthik. So when you create a Karthik copy, okay, here in the Karthik copy, age will become 18. Okay, name will become 134. Okay, now if I change something, okay, if I probably say Karthik copy dot age is equal to 21, I am changing the value that is in the age inside the Karthik copy object. Is that correct? If I am saying Karthik copy dot age is equal to 21, I am saying the value that is here, change that. So now this 18 is no longer 18, but it is 21. Okay. For now, assume that this was an integer. So if I would have done Karthik copy dot name is equal to 77, would it change this? Would it change Karthik dot name? It will not, right? I mean, if this was 77, you're just changing the value. Now consider it like this. When we say Karthik copy dot name is equal to Naman, what happens internally? Internally, a new object for Naman is created. So let us say this object Naman is created here. This new string Naman is created here. And let us say this string is at 210. So what you are basically doing? You are saying Karthik copy.name is equal to 210. So that means 210 will get stored here. And this will still be 134. Is that clear with everyone? First of all, how this works. How what I just showed works. Why would it change for original Karthik? It will not change with Karthik. That is what I explained, right? That is what I explained. It will not change. It will not change. Again, here you can see 1818 Karthik Karthik. Even if I change the name of the Karthik copy, it didn't change the name of Karthik. Okay. But now, let us say in this particular place, correct Karthik, absolutely. Now, if I instead have another object here, let us say every student also had a batch. Okay. So every student had a batch and there was a batch object, and that batch object had a name of August, and let us say students is equal to, let us say 120. Okay, is that clear? So every student now also has a batch object, and in that batch we have a name and we have students count. Is that clear with everyone? Is this thing clear? Okay, now so internally in my memory, now for the Karthik object, for Karthik, I have a name, sorry, I have an age. So age is stored here as it is. Then I have a name. Name is an object. So now name is stored in the memory. So name is Karthik. This Karthik is, let us say, at address 134. So 134 is stored here. Okay. And I have a batch. And batch is also an object. So somewhere here, there is a batch object where the name is August 21 and students is 120. And let us say this object is at address 210. So what will be stored in the batch object? What will be stored in the batch object? 210. Perfect. Now I create a copy of Karthik. Now I create a copy of Karthik. So this is Karthik copy. In Karthik copy, age will be 18. Okay. Name will be 134. And batch will be 210. Okay. If I say, so see, can I say this 210 means a reference to this batch? This 210 also means reference to this batch. Now, if I say Karthik copy dot batch dot student or dot name is equal to sep21. Now what do you think? Now what do you think will happen? Now will it change the name of Karthik dot batch dot name? Yes, now it will change. Why? Because now you are not making the change to this value. You are making the change to this value, September 21. So now for both Karthik and the Karthik copy, the value of the batch has changed. Okay. But if I would have done Karthik copy dot batch is equal to new batch, then what would have happened? Then would it have changed the value of Karthik.batch? No. Why? Because when I will do this, so probably this new batch is at address, let us say 197. So at address 197, a new batch will be created, which will have for now no name and student as 0. And Karthik copy will be now pointing to this, whereas Karthik will be pointed to this. Is it now clear? This is how internal memory structure of programming languages is. Many people often get confused. This is how it actually works. Okay. Okay. As August 21 is also a string, so correct, Sugandha. So because here in the batch the test of name is correct, Sugandha. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Is it also possible to do the same thing for name? Vijay, what thing for name? change name in both objects, I mean, yes, then also the same thing will happen. Okay. I mean, then also if you change the value of name, I mean, like if you say Karthik copy dot name is equal to hello, then it will not affect Karthik dot name. Okay. Because these are two different objects. Okay. Right. What happened of August 21 then? I mean, Shanvas, here you are not changing the value that is here. Here you are changing the value that is present here. And both of them are pointing to this, right? Both of them are pointing to this. Here. After that batch reference is changed, if we now do Karthik.batch, now it won't affect Karthik.batch.name, obviously, Prince, okay? Because now the reference is changed, everything is different, okay? Cool. If we concatenate anything to name string, then will it also change the name string? So Ashish, in Java, it works in a different way. Let us not go into detail of that. The only thing that I wanted to explain is here, okay? That it has been explained. Now, quick question. Do you think when I do a copy constructor, am I doing a shallow copy or am I doing a deep copy? I am doing a shallow copy. What is shallow copy versus deep copy? Let me explain this. Let me explain deep copy. Shallow copy will become clear automatically. A deep copy is a copy where the copy and the original object are completely separate from each other. I mean, internally also there is nothing that is being shared. No address being shared, no reference being shared internally as well, till you go any level deep. For example, let us say if it was a list here, even no object will be shared within the list. Is that clear? That is a deep copy. No common thing in both of the objects as deep as you go in that object. Okay. But are we having a deep copy here? No, we are not having a deep copy here, because if you see in Java, I mean, both this batch and the name are internally pointing to the same object. So if I change something in the batch of the copy, it also affects the batch of the original. So it's not a deep copy, it is a shallow copy. Now, quick thing to you. I'm not sure how many of you know this. Then how is it a copy? Then it's entirely different entities now. I mean, Sumit, it is still a copy, right? I mean, copies can be of two types, shallow or deep. In shallow, you are only copying the first level of values. Whereas in deep, you are also copying the internal values as well, the internal shared references. Okay. So let me just explain this thing to you. In Java, deep copy isn't possible. Simple as that. There is no way to create a deep copy for anything in Java. Okay. So just think. Yes, in JavaScript we can do, but in Java there is no possible. I will not go into detail of this. Ask this in the language module. It's not at all related to object-oriented programming, but in Java, deep copy isn't possible at all. Okay. If you want to know this, wait for the language module or read a book called Effective Java. Okay. Perfect. Then what is the use of shallow copy? I mean, Sagar, if we just want to copy, let us say, immutable objects. If we want to copy an immutable object, then shallow copy is helpful, right? Those kind of cases, okay? Yes, we can suffer. Okay, so shallow copy has side effects. So that is what I just wanted to introduce. But we did the question of create deep copy of linked list. Priyanshu, you actually didn't create the deep copy of linked list. Internally, there will be still something that will be shared. Okay, often we don't get to know this, but yes. So I mean, I had explained this to you. For all of you, a language module is also going to be there. I'm not sure when will it be connected. I think it will be before project building module, where we will discuss languages in depth. Okay, so things about how does a particular thing work in a programming language, etc. Okay, the questions that get asked in interview about a language, for example, how does a list work in Java, or how do promises work in JavaScript, how does threading work in Python, things like that. Okay. Okay, Chirag, clone we are going to discuss in prototype design pattern. Don't worry. Okay, don't go ahead. There is a reason for that, for saying that. Okay, what is a shallow copy? Samrat, a shallow copy is a copy where we are only copying the values that are there in the objects. So here we are just copying 18, 134 and 210. We are not making a copy of the references. For example, this batch has a reference to this object. We are not copying the object that it is referring to. Okay, so that is why it is a shallow copy. We are only copying the values here. We are not copying the internal things. Okay, let me give you a better example. Let me give you another example. Probably, let us say this is one object. Okay, this is one student, and he has a list of, let us say, name. Okay, and this is another student. This is a copy of it, and they have a list of name. Okay, cool. So where will this list of name be? What will be the value that will be stored here? What will be the value that will be stored in the object? It will be address of the list. So let us say this list internally in the memory is at 181. So what will be stored in the student A and in the student B, which is copy of A? 181. Okay, cool. Now, is it currently a shallow copy or deep copy? It is a shallow copy. Now, okay, so let us say we decide that we will create a deep copy. What will we do? We will first copy these values. After that, for every attribute, we will also copy the list. Okay, let us do that. Okay, so let us also create a new list and copy the original values. Okay, let us try this. Let us try that. Okay, cool. So what did we do? We told this is student A. Okay, and this will explain you why deep copy is not possible in Java. Student A had a list of name. Okay, cool. Now, this is the list of name. Let us say internally in the memory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At address 181. So 181 is here. Okay. But now comes a twist. A name is also a object. Okay. And a name internally has a list of character. Okay. And name also has, let us say, a length attribute. So now, do you think that this will also be referring to some object which will have, let us say, Naman 5, then Sandeep, and what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Sagar 5, so on. Do you see this can happen? Now, let us say I decide to create a deep copy of student A. So do you see that first I will have to create a deep copy of this, then I will have to create a deep copy of this, and internally also it might be an object. So do you see that it can actually end up into a very big loop? It can end up into a very in-depth loop. That is why it is very, I mean, like, it is almost impossible to create a deep copy in Java. Okay? So almost every framework that gives you a copy, it is a shallow copy. Now, Samrat, even for clone, even a clone doesn't give a deep copy. A clone gives a shallow copy. Okay, we are going to learn clone in a prototype design pattern. So wait for that class. But we can create our own method for deep copy. Rohit, we can create our own method, but it will be very difficult to actually get a real deep copy. Because internally in Java, everything ends up sharing a default object, which you cannot copy. So, I mean, things become difficult here. Okay. 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 Now, we still thankfully have almost everyone who was there when we started this topic. How many of you are clear with everything that we have covered till now? I mean, we have spent a lot of time in constructors, so I hope this was worth your time, right? Is everyone clear? Only 30 people have answered. Okay, awesome. But both shallow and deep copy create two objects with different hash nodes. Yes, I mean, Samrat, this will definitely be different. Okay, these two will definitely be different. But what happens internally? It decides if it is a shallow copy or is it a deep copy. Okay, cool. So let us take a break. Let us have a break for 5 minutes. I also need to have a sip of water. Let us be back at 10:32 p.m. and then we will start with the next topic, which is access modifiers. Okay, and we will also talk a bit about destructors before we go to access modifiers. Cool. Okay. Sure, Nirmal, we will see that. Sanjeev, everything will come. Inheritance will come. Okay, we have still a lot of time left. Don't worry. I'm audible. Uh, can you see the screen? Yes. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. So, is there a question? Questions are new. Jayesh, I mean, in some languages there is a destructor, right? So I just wanted to talk about that. Okay, so we are at 10:32 p.m. Let us start the class. Okay. Now, as we have a constructor, right? So when we construct an object, what do? When we construct an object, we create values of the attributes. We probably assign different values to the attributes of an object. So in many programming languages, at some point the object will be gone, right? So what will you need to do? You will need to delete those values, the values that you just created. When you were creating the object, you have to delete them, right? You have to delete those values. So in some programming languages, in basic programming languages, okay, where there is no garbage collection, where no automatic garbage collection, okay, objects also have a destructor, or classes, as they have a constructor, classes also have a destructor. Okay, so what do you do in those destructors? Let us say in a constructor you created a file. In constructor you created a file. So what will you do in a destructor? You will remove the file, or you will delete that particular file. Okay, is that clear with everyone? Okay, so those kind of things. But obviously these days we don't use those low level languages, so we don't need to know about this topic, only if it ever gets asked. So just wanted to tell you about that there is something called destructor as well. Feel free to read more about it on your itself. But these days in normal programming languages, we have garbage collector, and garbage collectors do this job. The garbage collector automatically will remove those attributes, will delete those attributes from the memory. Sagar, life cycle of garbage collection, again, not a topic for today. It's also a topic of language module. Okay, how do garbage collectors work, etc. Go in the language module. It's nothing related to object-oriented programming. Okay, cool. Clear with everyone about the use of destructor. Okay, if a programming language doesn't automatically delete those objects, delete those references, you need to delete them yourself. So in normal programming languages, in low-level programming languages, you have special methods for them, which is destructor. What languages have them? C++ has them. And I don't know any other language having them, but C++ has destructors. Okay, where you, when will you use them? For example, if you have a file reference, you will open a file in the constructor, you will delete the file in the destructor. Okay, C# also has destructors. Okay, but in Java you don't need any destructor. Automatically when an object goes out of scope, the garbage collector removes all the things. Clear? Should we go ahead? Okay, cool. Yes. So I mean, like, Java is the perfect language to do object-oriented programming, very honestly. Okay, cool. So now let us again get back to encapsulation. What were the features of a capsule, of a medical capsule? One was it was storing the medicine together, and the second thing was it was protecting the medicine from the environment, right? Now let us discuss the same feature for a class as well. In classes we have something called access modifiers. Okay, what is the purpose of these access modifiers? These access modifiers protect attributes or methods of a class from outside access. For example, there might be some methods or there might be some attributes of a class that you don't want external people or external clients to access directly. For that particular case, you can use access modifiers. What are these access modifiers? There are 4 access modifiers in most programming languages: public, private, protected, and default. Okay. We are not going to care about protected and default here. Feel free to read them about yourself. It's not there in all the other languages. But let us learn about public and private. What is a public attribute? A public attribute can be accessed. So by any client, class, anywhere in my code base. Okay. If a class wants to use or wants to access a public attribute or a public method, that other class can be present anywhere in the code base. Okay. For example, let us say this is the student class. So let us say there is source. Okay. There is source. Okay. And then there is something called package one. Okay. And in this package one, there is student. Okay. And this student has a public age. Okay. And there is a package 2. Okay. And that package 2 has a client. And this client wants to access student.h. Will it be able to do this? Will it be able to do this? Yes, it will be able to do this because this age is public. Now, if we go to private, a private means can be accessed by no one. Can be accessed by no one. Not even the child classes. Not even the child classes. Okay, we will learn about child classes soon, but the private attribute can be accessed from no one, can be accessed by no one, not even their child class. So where can a private attribute be accessed then? I mean, like if it can be accessed by no one, then why is it even there? Yes, it can be accessed only within the class. Accessed only within the class. Only within the class. Okay, cool. Yes. We will do that, Karthik. Yes. Okay. Now, let us go to default as well. Let us just learn default. What is a default? A default can be considered as package private. What it means? A default attribute can be accessed by any class in the same package, but it cannot be accessed by any class from any other package. Is that clear? If there is another class, let us say client 2, will client 2 be able to access student.h? If the age is default. If the age is default, yes. Sagar, basically a package is a folder. You can assume a folder. Okay. Okay. But will package 2 be able to access it? Package 2 will not be able to access it because it's not the same one. Okay. Now there are a few questions. Package protected, if I'm not wrong, only the child classes. No, I mean package private, you can be accessed by the other. I will show that to you. Okay. In fact, we have already seen that happening. Not even from sub package. Sub packages, I'm not sure. I think sub packages can access. Okay, sub package is within a package, so yes, sub packages can access. Okay, is default a keyword? No, default is not keyword. By default, I mean if we don't specify anything. If we don't specify anything. Okay. If we don't specify anything, it is considered default. Okay. Let me show all of these to you in action. Let me show all of these to you in action. So, can you see the screen? Perfect. Now let us go to the second topic, which is access modifiers. Java class access modifiers. Sorry, new Java package access modifiers. Yes. Now, if you go to access modifiers, let me just copy the student class here as well. Okay. So the student class has this. So what is the current access modifier for each of these attributes? It is default. If I have not mentioned anything, it is default. Okay. So let us just write a client class. Java class client. Okay. Now in this client code, let us say I have PSVM and I say student is equal to new student. Will I be able to access, let us say student dot name? Will I be able to do that? Yes, I will be able to do that because it is default. So is the student class in the same package as the client? Yes. So student will be able to access. So client will be able to access student only. Works. Okay. A is equal to num. Perfect. Let me have a private attribute as well. So let us say for student, we have a private address. Do you think I will be able to access this private address in the client? No. So let us see student dot. Do you see address here? No. Student dot address is equal to hello. So if you see, this is coming in red, and it also shows address has private access. So you cannot access it. Okay. Not working. Will not work. Okay. Let us say I go to the next line, which is student class. Let me make email public. Okay. If I make something public, do you think I will be able to access email in the student? Email in the client? Yes, obviously. So student dot email is equal to naman@scalar.com. So that will also work. Perfect. Let us see the let us see the default one once. Private we have seen, public we have seen. Let me create two sub packages in it. Okay, package one. Okay, and I have another package two. Okay, Krishna, by default, in Java, you folder is same as a package technically. Okay, no difference between them. Package two, no difference between them. So this is package one, package two. Yes, in C# and C++, it is known as namespace. So it will be refactor h1. Okay, cool. So in package one, let us say I have the student class. Okay, so let me just copy this command C and let me paste it in package one. Okay, cool. Now, in package two, I have a client class. Okay, cool. Yes. If I create an object of the student, which is I think the student that is there in access modifiers dot package one dot student. Okay, so student s is equal to new student. Do you think I will be able to access student dot name? No. In the package two, I will not be able to do that. S dot name. It's not there. Why is it not there? Because it is in different package. The first thing is in access modifiers dot package one. The client is in access modifiers dot package two. Two different packages. So as the student has a default constructor for the name, this name can only be accessed from the same package. Here it is a different package. So s dot name is equal to null will not work, right? Because default. Clear with everyone? Clear with everyone? Can it access outside student? Nowhere. Now, Srinivas, the only place where this can be accessed, where this name attribute can be accessed, will be either in the same package. So, for example, if I have another client here, Nikhil, I will tell this to you. Okay, if I have a client here, so this will be able to access. So, student, sorry, which student do I want? I want of access modifiers dot package one. Student is equal to new student. So student dot name. I am able to access here. Why am I able to access here? Why am I able to access here? Because same package. And I think it will also work in a sub package. So if I create a sub package of this, so in this sub package, if I have a client, so if I just write this student access modifiers dot package one, student is equal to new student and student dot name. Oh, I cannot even access it in a sub package. Okay, clear? So the only place where attribute which is default can be accessed is the same package, not even a sub package. Clear with everyone? Clear with everyone? Perfect. Now there is a question, can a parent package access it? So let us also see student.name is equal to num will not work. Okay. Let us also see that. Okay. Hmm. Let us also see a parent package. So who is a parent of this student class? Which package is a parent of this student class? The access modifiers one, right? The access modifiers one. The access modifiers one is a parent. So let us say in this we have a client. So let me have a student of the second type. So student which is of access modifiers dot package one is equal to new student. Okay. New the second student, right? New student. Okay, perfect. And after that, uh, new student. Okay. And in this new student dot I cannot. So I can neither access a default attribute from a parent class, neither can I access it. Sorry, I cannot access a default attribute either from the parent package nor from the child packages, only from the same package. Clear with everyone? Okay, perfect. So these are access modifiers. So that is how we finish encapsulation. Anyone has any doubts with respect to encapsulation now? We are done with encapsulation till now. So we have discussed constructors today. We have discussed access modifiers today. Why is a class always public? Why is a class always public? Okay, so the only reason for making this class public is because it has to be accessed from outside, right? You need to access a class from outside. You okay? So I mean, in Java, you can have non-public classes as well, but I mean, at least the class which has the name of the file should be public. Otherwise, external people will not be able to access that class. That's the only place. Okay. Okay, can we have any chart for these access modifiers? You can have. So I think there are multiple charts for this Java access modifiers. Well, you don't really need to know about these things, but you see, you can consider it like this. Okay, so this is a very good chart for the same. Can you see the screen? This one, that a public thing can be accessed from the class, it can be accessed from the package, it can be accessed from the subclass, as well as it can be accessed from anywhere, any other file which is at any place. Protected thing can only be accessed from the class or the package or the subclasses. Okay, a protected file can either be accessed, a protected attribute or a protected method can be either accessed from the same class, or it can be accessed from the same package, or it can be accessed from the same, from the subclass. So subclass is a child class, Karthik, and we are going to learn that very soon. Okay, when we will learn inheritance, then we will learn child class. No, I think we will need another class of hope, I feel. Okay, but a protected attribute cannot be accessed globally. Okay. Default one can only be accessed from the same class or the same package. Okay, not global. A private only from the same class. Is everyone clear with that? Default access can't be accessed even if you import the public class. No, it cannot, Akash. It cannot. Here we had done that, right? So Akash, if you see here we had imported this class, but so in the sub package, I had imported this class student, but even then it didn't work. Okay, it didn't. No, Sagar, by default, I don't think classes are public in Java. You will have to write public. Okay? At least one class in a file should have public. What is static import? We will learn that. We will learn these things. Sandeep, don't worry. By default, they will have default access. Okay. By default, the access modifier is default. Okay. Default is not protected. Okay, Utkarsh, default is not protected. Default is different than protected. The only difference between default and protected is a default attribute cannot be accessed from the subclass, whereas a protected attribute can be accessed from a subclass. That is the difference. Okay. Awesome. Cool. So we are done with these topics. Should we go to inheritance? Should we go to inheritance now? Okay, perfect. Before we go to inheritance, I think just stop yes or no. Just stop at yes or no. Quick question. Is there anyone having any doubt? If you have a doubt, say a yes right now. If you don't have a doubt, say a no. We still have 180-ish people. That is great. But please put a thumbs down in the chat so that I can see how many of you are still attending the class. Okay. So no one has any doubt. Right. Primitive values within an object, what type of memory are they stored in? So Akash, they are stored in stack, yes. They are stored in the stack memory. Correct. But I mean, frankly speaking, these things are language dependent. Okay, it's not that okay for every language they get stored at the same place. So ideally, these things should not be asked in an object-oriented programming thing, but in a probably language module kind of thing. Okay, cool. Can you all see my screen? Perfect. Now let us go to the next topic, which is inheritance. Now, this is the first. This is basically the starting point of learning object-oriented design. Till now we were just basically learning the basics of object-oriented programming. Now we will actually start designing things. Okay, so why did object-oriented programming come into picture? Again, going back a bit, why did object-oriented programming come into picture? Why did object-oriented programming come into picture? Because we were, I mean, think from intuition. What was the intuition that we used? That okay, why will object-oriented programming be better? Because this is how we think in real world. Simple. This is how we think in real world. Okay. Now let us again come back to real world. When we think of a lot of entities in real world, do we try to find some similar things between them? For example, there are males, there are females. Okay. But we combine them and we call them humans. Then there are also monkeys. We combine them and we call them mammals. Do people like forming hierarchies to club similarities of different entities for the ease of understanding? Do we do this? Do we humans try to club the similarities of different entities so as to make the understanding a bit easier for us? Yes, we club those attributes so that now we can say that, okay, if one person knows some traits of mammals, by default, they know the traits of females. By default, they know the traits of males. By default, they know the traits of monkeys. So it makes our understanding easier. It prevents us from learning same thing multiple times. For example, now you don't need to know. For example, if you know that, okay, mammals have legs, now you by default know that humans have legs, males have legs, females have legs, monkeys have legs because each of them is a mammal. Now you prevent yourself from learning same thing multiple times. Is that clear with everyone? Okay. For example, I mean, this is, I think, a good example to start with. So similar concept is also there in object-oriented programming. In object-oriented programming, this concept of representing hierarchies is known as inheritance. This concept of representing hierarchies amongst the entities or amongst the ideas in my system is known as inheritance. So what do we mean by inheritance? In inheritance also, we try to form such kind of a hierarchical representation, hierarchical tree of different classes that are there in my system. Okay, of different entities that are there in my system. Okay, and what does inheritance say? So let us say we try to create a hierarchy. Let us try to create a hierarchy for animals. Let us try to create a hierarchy for animals. So what do you think this hierarchy will look like? Animal entity. So let us try to just form that. Correct. We might have an animal. Then we can say that, okay, animals, there are multiple types of animals. So let us say we have a dog, we have cat, we have monkey. Okay. Now amongst dog as well, we might have multiple types of dogs, right? For example, we have lab, we have any popular breed, pug, we have your any other one, husky, yes, right? So we have multiple breeds, so each of them is a dog. Now let us say if animals have a property, can we say if animals have a, let us say, color, does it mean that husky will also have a color? If animals have color, does it mean husky will have a color? Yes, because husky, why is it true? Because husky is a animal. This kind of relationship, which is inheritance relationship, is also known as is a relationship. It is also known as is a relationship. Okay. Now, what are the different terms in this relationship? So the very first thing is, let us consider dog and animal. Okay. For this relation, Dog is known as a child class, or it is known as a subclass. And the parent is known as a parent class, or it is also known as a superclass. Okay. So for a child, it is sub or a child. Parent, it is a parent or a super. Clear? Two terms. Parent is known as parent or super, and child or this. This relationship is also represented as isa. So we can say dog is a animal. Dog is a animal because dog is a child class of animal. Okay, isn't dog a derived class as well? Ankit, I mean, you can. Some people do call it a derived class, but more common terminology is child or sub. Okay, more common terminology is child or sub. But yes, some people do use the term derived as well. You are correct there. Okay, now same for cat. Okay, and same for everywhere. Okay, now how does inheritance help in object-oriented programming? In object-oriented programming, if a superclass has a particular attribute or has a particular method, by default, even without you coding anything, that attribute will be present in all of the child chain. For example, if animal has a color, you will not even have to code it, but each of the child entities, so dog, lab, pug, husky, cat, will automatically get a color. You will not even have to use it. Is it clear? Unless what Sarik is saying, it is a private thing. Obviously, if it is a private entity, then it will not work, right? We just learned that. I mean, if the attribute is not private, then it will definitely work. Clear with everyone? Okay. Same for any method. If animals can walk, if animal has a walk method, that walk method will be there in dog as well. That walk method will be there in cat as well. That walk method will be there in monkey as well. Here, etc. Okay, cool. So what does it improve? I'm like, how does it help in my code? I mean, we have learned a few features of a good code, right? Of a good software. What does it help me with? I mean, which feature is improving here? Yes, here first I am reusing the code. Code reusability. See, now I don't have to write the same code again and again, right? If I would write the same code again and again, there are more and more chances of creating bugs, because whenever you write code, there is possibility of a bug happening. Now, if you're reusing the code that is written once, you are reducing your chance of inducing a bug. Okay. Similarly, obviously, it makes readability better, because now, or understandability better, because people can just try to understand a parent class and they will know the different features of the child classes as well. Is that clear with everyone? Okay. Yes, correct, Neeraj. Correct, Karthikeyan. Absolutely correct. Okay. Now, how will we represent this inheritance? To represent this inheritance, see, this is also a class. This is also a class. Similarly, this is also a class. So, what do we say? We say, when we create a dog class, we say class dog extends animal. The presence of this keyword extends mean dog is a child class or a subclass of animal. Okay. Now, in most of the programming languages, you can only extend one class. You can only extend one class. So, for example, it is not possible to do class dog extends animal, comma, human. This is not possible. Clear? You cannot extend more than one class in most of the programming languages. Why is this true? I will come to that very soon. Vijay, I will come to that very soon. This is due to something called a diamond problem, which I will explain today only. Don't worry. Okay. But in most of the programming languages, you can only extend one class. Okay. For example, in Java, only one class. In C++, you can extend multiple classes. Okay. In C++, you can extend multiple classes. Okay. Cool. So class dog extends animal. By default, it means all the attributes and all the methods of the animals go in the Java. Okay. Go in the child class as well. Okay. Now, a few things. So let us say to create animal. Okay. By the way, before we even go to the animal and the dog thing. Some other example. Let us take the use case of scalar. In scalar, some example, some place where you see in the code base of scalar where I might have an inheritance chain. Yes, Karthikeyan, correct. Correct. In scalar, we have students, we have instructors, we have mentors. And do all of them have some shared attributes? Yes, each of them has a name, each of them has an email, each of them has a password, each of them has probably a profile, something. So we can say probably there is a base class called user. In Scalar's example, there is a base class called user. A user has a name, a user has an email, a user has a password, a user has probably years of experience, a user has a college. Then we have child classes. Okay, for example, we have a student. Okay, student might have other details as well. For example, what can be the other things in a student? What can be other attributes in a student? A student might have a badge, a student might have a PSP, a student might have a, I mean, Scalar doesn't have a roll number, very frankly. It can have a mentor. Correct. Similarly, there can be a mentor. A mentor may have a job description. It might have a list of mentees. It might have time slots. Correct. Similarly, we will have an instructor. Right? What will an instructor have? Instructor will have talent. Yeah, definitely. Instructor will have, I think Ankit was just waiting for this thing to come up. Okay. Instructor has, let us say, assigned batch, right? If an instructor is cool, they might also have a list of memes, right? So assigned batch, probably, let us say, topics, the topics they teach. They might have a rating and all those things as well, right? Cool. So then, those kind of things. So is the thing clear? Is this particular thing clear? Inheritance chain. Okay. Having these attributes by default says that every student now is automatically going to have the name, email, password, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Cool. Now, once we have learned about inheritance, let us learn the other properties that we get from it. Okay. Because, I mean, so now let us say if there is a method in it. So let us say a user has a method called update email. For example, a user has a behavior to update an email. Can we say the student can also update an email? A student can later transition into an instructor? Yes, it can. Because if a user can update an email, why can student also update an email? Why can student also update an email? Why can student also? Because student is a user. Simple. Because student is a user. Right? If you are a user, you can do everything that a user can do. Is that making sense? If you are a user, you can do everything that a user can do. If you are a student, and as student is a user, student can have a name, student can have an email, student can have a password, student can update email, student can change password. All of those features will be available to you. Clear? Okay. Now let us just do one thing quickly. We will now let me just learn one thing. So do you think when I will create an object of student S is equal to new student, internally programming language will need to create an object of the user as well? Yes, because student is not complete without the user. Okay, if you're creating an object of the student, you do need to create an object of the user. But to let us say, but user has a constructor. User has a constructor. And this constructor takes a name and an email. You cannot have a user without name and email. Then how will this work? I mean, if you create a student by calling the constructor of the student, I mean, how will the user be created? Do you see a problem? Do you see a problem coming? Let us try to solve that. And this will be the last thing that we will learn today. Okay. All the other topics, interfaces, abstract classes, etc., we will learn tomorrow. Okay. Yes. So Sagar, I'm coming there. I'm coming to the solution of this. Can you all see my screen? Perfect. Let us go to the next topic, which is inheritance, right? Tomorrow means Monday, yes. Inheritance. Now in inheritance, first let us try to create the inheritance chain that we had learned that we had just learned, right? For the student, mentor, instructor, and a user. Okay. So let us first create these classes. So there is a class called user. Then there is a class called instructor. Then there is a class called student. Then there is a class called mentor. Okay. First of all, because each of them, mentor, student, and user, are child classes of a, mentor, student, and instructor are child classes of a user, or they are a user, we will say for each of them, they extend user. Mentor extends user. Similarly, your student extends user. Okay. By the way, let us see this in action. If I just click here, okay, so I click on instructor, right click on instructor, go to diagrams, go to show diagram. Can you see this child class relationship already there? So this is also a feature of IDEs. They can automatically show you the diagrams, the hierarchy of relationships, which can make a lot of things easier for you. Okay, just give me a moment. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, right click on instructor, right click on the package, go to diagrams, go to show diagram, and this will work. Okay, fine. I think it is only there in IntelliJ Ultimate. It's not there in the community version, correct? Anyways, let us go ahead. Now, in a user, let us put a few attributes. The few attributes can be the one that we just wrote in the notes. Okay, a student has a name. A user has a name. They have an email, and they have a password. Let us say for now we only just keep these. And there is a method called update email, void update email, string new email. Sorry, this dot email is equal to new email. Perfect. Similarly, there is void change password, and here what I will do, string new password. Karthikeyan, we will see that. Okay. So here we will have this dot password is equal to new password. Okay. Now let us just have a few attributes in the other classes as well. Okay. So in the instructor, we will have assigned badge and the topic. So let us say string assigned badge. Okay. And we have for mentor, let us say mentor has a list of students as the mentees. And then I have a description. Okay, so probably string description. Okay, and then a student has a badge. Student has a badge, PSP, and a mentor. String badge, double PSP, and mentor. Clear till now? Clear with everyone till now? Perfect. Now, what I'm going to do is, let me just create this diagram again. Diagram, show diagram. Let me just refresh this. And let me go to properties. Here. Okay, so they have done a lot of cool work. Just ignore this for now. Okay. Yeah, this is a new thing that they have done. So can you see all the properties? I just wanted to show this to you. I'm not able to. Inner classes properties. Why are the properties not showing? For a user, why can I not see the properties? Yes. Okay. Now can you see this? Okay, so it's actually a bug. So I'm not on the public IntelliJ. I'm on the, if you see for IntelliJ, I'm on the beta version of them. So that is why all these bugs are there. But now can you see this? That these are the properties. So a user has these properties. Instructor has some other properties. Let me rearrange it probably. Fit content, actual size, program just want to be. This is okay, whatever it is. Okay, so you can see that user is a class. It's not really the best way to put this into design. Probably this might be a better way to put into design. Okay, so something like this. There is a user class. User class has a constructor. It has these three attributes and it has these two emails. Similarly, instructor is a child class of user. It has one attribute. Student, three attributes. Constructor. Can you see this? Can we use this feature in interviews? You can, Sumit. Okay? I don't think anyone will mind that. Okay, anyways. So now let us see this in action. Let us see if this is really working. Now let us create a client. Sorry, so let me create a client. Now for the client, let me just have a main method. And in this method, let me say instructor is equal to new instructor. Do you think an instructor will have a name? Instructor dot name. Why does an instructor have a name? Why does an instructor have a name? Because name is an attribute of user and instructor is a user. So you can say instructor.name is equal to Naman. Okay. And by the way, I can show this to you even from this. Even though what was the attribute of the data type of name? What was the data type of name? What was the access modifier of name? It was default. So why is it visible here? Because it is in the same package. Okay. Ideally in your code bases, you should have no attribute as private. But we will do that soon. We will discuss that particular thing as well. But instructor has a name. Similarly, let us say instructor dot description. Why does instructor don't have a description? If it doesn't have a description, we should put that, right? Cool. So now in the client class, I can say instructor.description is equal to super cool. Is that clear with everyone? That is why I did this. Now, let us go ahead. Now, if we want to create a user is equal to new user. Now, do you think a user will have a, let us say, description? No, user will not have a description because instructor has a description. Even though instructor is a user, but does that mean user is an instructor? No. Okay, so user will only have the attributes of its class, name, email, and password. So user.name is equal to, let us say, Karthik. Yeah, user cannot be super cool. Okay, anyways, then let us go to the mentor as well. Mentor is equal to new mentor. And let us say mentor.name. Who should we make our mentor? Let us put Abhimanyu, okay? Anyways, for mentor, do we have any other thing? Mentor has a description. Anyone wants to put a description about Abhimanyu and wants to get me fired? Mentor.description is equal to anyone? Vipadas, anything that you want to put out? Is equal to boss. Okay, let us say. Okay, cool. Very nice, man. So everyone has good things to say about him, so that's great. Okay. Can you re-show the classes relationship chart once? Utkarsh, yes, I will show that. Don't worry. Okay, I will show that. Cool. So, good things. Let us just see ahead. For a mentor, do you think I can have email of a mentor? Can I have email of a mentor? Yes, because user has an email, so he will also have an email. Because let us say Abhimanyu at. Okay. Now let us just see this. Let us just see this in action. Let me put a debug statement here, and let me debug this. Okay, cool. Now, if we see here, for our instructor, which was Naman, do you see the attributes of name, email, and password as well? Do you see these attributes? Yes. How were these attributes set? I mean, how did these attributes come into picture? These attributes came because they were a part of the user. Similarly, here as well, name, email, and password. Mentor, mentee's description, name, email, password. Okay, clear with everyone? Is this clear with everyone that all the attributes of the parent class will come here? Okay, now there was a method in the user. Let us say there is a method in the user called change password, or let me just have another method in the user, void say something, and let us just say something. Perfect. Now, when I say instructor dot say something, do you think I will be able to do that? Can I say instructor dot say something? Yes, I can say instructor dot say something. Okay. And if I just run this again, you will be able to see in the console something was printed. Mentor dot description is empty. Why? I mean, because okay, why is this mentor? Because this line hasn't been executed yet, right? I mean, it will be executed after this. So now you can see description is false. Okay. So this line hasn't been executed. The execution stops before executing that line. Okay. Cool. Okay. So is everyone clear with this? That all the methods, basically the whole code of the parent class goes inside the child class. Now, let us introduce one. Why user can be assigned with instance of subclass. Sanjeev, that we will learn when we will come to polymorphism. We haven't come to polymorphism yet. Okay. That you will get to know when we will learn polymorphism. Now, in reality, when we are going to code in real life, never make your attributes public. Never. Never make your attributes default either. Because it is told in programming, if anything becomes public ever, if anything is visible ever, it is almost impossible to make it invisible later. Why? Because if you make something public, so many people would have seen it, so many people would be using it that there is no benefit, or I mean, like if you try to hide it again, it will lead to more harm than good. Is that clear with everyone? Okay, so yeah, okay, Utkarsh, the chart one is inheritance, right click, diagrams, show diagrams. This is the chart. Clear, Utkarsh? Okay. Instructor slash student. What do you mean by that, Utkarsh? Should I unmute you? Utkarsh. Okay. Hey, Utkarsh.
Yeah, hi Naman. I just missed these arrow. What does this imply? Like
Okay, so basically these arrows we will learn in the UML diagram class. What does this arrow mean? What does this
So
mean?
what is the relationship with the user class?
It means instructor is a user. Instructor extends user. For now, this is.
Okay. I was thinking like it is a
I
part.
mean,
Okay, got it.
so is someone hearing two sounds? Hello, Utkarsh?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, now I think you are visible. I think I was hearing two sounds somehow. I don't know how.
Okay.
Is
Now,
someone
now,
else
now,
also
now,
in
it,
the.
now it is clear to me.
Okay, are you somehow in the scalar verse that many people? Okay. Utkarsh, can you please explain your doubt again? I'm again not able to hear you.
I was having a confusion with the relationship that classes, student, and instructor have with user.
Is someone else also speaking somewhere? I'm hearing some other sound. I'm not sure who is. I'm hiring manager of this role, something like that. Utkarsh. Okay. So no, I think it was sound from Utkarsh background. Utkarsh, can you please go to some other place? I'm somehow.
I'm audible now.
Yes, you are audible. Are you somehow in scalar verse? So many people.
No, like
Okay.
one of my friends is into the recruiter job now, so he was.
Acha. Okay. Cool. Okay.
So
No, yeah. Now please tell. Yeah.
yeah, I was asking like what is the relationship of the classes instructor and student with the user class that I missed due to the network
Instructor
issues.
is a user. Instructor is a user. Instructor extends user. Similarly, student extends user. There is no relation between instructor with student. Okay. This is how the diagram is represented. That's the only thing.
Okay,
Instructor.
so that arrow is confusing me.
Yeah, I
That
mean
could
that is. I mean like I'm not able to control why they are doing it this way. Probably let me just make some cool animations. Uh, I don't know what they are doing. So,
Okay. Like confusion.
yes,
Clear.
now just
So,
assume that, okay, this is the thing, right? Now you can say that, okay, it's something like this.
mm,
Okay. All of them are the same thing. Okay. No
yeah,
other relationship. Okay.
yeah, got it.
Okay. Perfect. So, okay. So, Jayesh, I'm coming there. I'm coming there. Okay. So, ideally, in your code bases, you should never have attributes at public. Okay. Ideally, make all the attributes as private. Okay. So, now let us say assigned batch is private, the description is private, then your mentor has this as private. Okay. No, it should be private, Samrat. Okay. Be as restrictive as possible. Okay. So even in machine coding, this will be the suggestion: make everything private. Okay. PSP as private, mentor as private. Okay. Perfect. Now, the question is that, okay, if something is private and you want someone to access that attribute, how will you access that attribute? So now we will see all of that. We will see all of that. Then there is a concept of something called getters and setters. What are getters and setters? So often in classes, we create method, like for example, for every attribute, we will create one method called get mentees. Similarly, we will create a method called set mentees. Set mentees will take a list of this. Okay, list of students. This is often a better option rather than allowing someone to directly access your attribute. Why? Why do you think this is better? Because this can allow you to do some other validations as well. For example, if you don't want the count of mentees to go above 5, if someone directly has access to mentees, will we be able to control that? No. But if we have a method now we can do this, right? We can say if mentees.count, if mentees.count is greater than 5, don't do anything. Okay. Is that clear? We get control because now it is like a method. So often to access the attributes or to get the attributes, rather than making the attributes public, we create getters and setters. This is such a common phenomena that in IntelliJ or basically in any popular IDEs, there is a shortcut for this. For example, in IntelliJ, if you will press Command N, you will get getter and setter. Let me select both of these attributes. Automatically, the getters and setters are created for you. Is that clear? Automatically they create the getters and setters. So similarly we are also going to learn one other way to do this in the machine coding classes, Lombok. Okay, getters and setters for both the attributes. Just give me a moment. Command N. Yes, so Lombok we will learn in the machine coding classes. So this similarly in the student and getter and setter. Cool. Reasons for using getters. Manish, if you want someone to access the attribute, then rather than making it public, tell them that use this getter. Okay, because if someone is using a getter, you can put a logic here. You can print some debug statement. Someone is trying to access patch like this. Okay, now you can have your logging statements as well, right, to keep a check. Clear, Manish? But using reflection, we can violate the functionality of what private. Utkarsh, yes, technically we can do that, but we are not caring for that here. Okay. Cool. So now the question is that, okay, if we have these kind of things, what we had learned in the child classes. So if I go to client, now you see instructor doesn't have a description. Why? Why does instructor no longer have a description? Okay, it has a description. Why does instructor have a name first of all? Okay, let me just. Okay, user haven't I made private? Okay. So user, let me make it private. Let me make email as private. Let me make password as private. Okay. Cool. Now, if you go to the client code, the whole code is broken. So first, what should we do? How should we change this? We should change this to setter. We should use setter. So instead of this, we will say instructor dot set name. Now we are not able to access set name. Why are we not able to access set name now? Because I didn't create this. Command N, getter and setter. Okay. Now I will be able to say instructor.set name number. Okay. Similarly, here instructor.description equal to super cool, so on and so forth. Instructor.set description. set description equal to superglue. Perfect. Similarly, you can do it for all the other attributes as well. Okay, I don't need to get into that. But now the question is that, okay, you have made all of them private, you have this. But let us say to create a user, because if I'm creating an instructor, I have to create a user. I have to set the values of the users, right? I have to set the values of the user attributes. Similarly, if I create a mentor, I have to set the values of the mentor attributes, etc. So on and so forth. Okay. So two questions come up. If I have a private attribute in the parent class, can I access that private attribute in the child class? Question number one. If I have a private attribute in the parent class, can I access that private variable in the child class? No. Unless I use the getters. Unless I use the getters, right? Unless I use the getters. I mean, if I use the getter, that getter is public. So then I can use that, right? Because getter is public, then I can use that. But the question is, if I have a private attribute in the parent class and I create an object of the child class, okay? So I have a private attribute in a parent class and I create an object of the child class. Do you think the private attributes of a parent class take memory in the object of the child class as well? Question is, let me repeat this question, okay? And then it will be a poll, okay? So first of all, let me explain the question. Okay. If I create an object of a child class, okay, do private attributes of parent take memory of that object? So another way to explain this is, let us say I have a class A. In that class, I have private int, let us say A, and I have public int, let us say B, A, and then I have another class B, which extends A, and this has one attribute called public int C. Now, I create an object of B. I say B is equal to new. What do you think will be the size of this object? Assume that integer is 4 byte. What do you think will be the size of this object? So let me quickly have a question. Let me quickly have a quiz for this thing. Okay. What do you think? If it takes 4 bytes. Okay. So the question is there right in front of you now. The question is there on your screen. What will be the size of object P? Will it be 4 bytes? Will it be 8 bytes? Will it be 12 bytes? Only 50% of people have participated. What about others? Please answer something. Will it be 4 bytes? Will it be 8 bytes? Will it be 12 bytes? Yes, conceding no other hand is pending. It will actually be 12 bytes. Now let us see why will it be 12 bytes. Okay. So see. Now, how many of you agree that from this parent class, so let us say instructor is a child class, from this instructor, can I call a public method of the parent class? Can I call that? Yes. So I can call, let us say, get description, which is a method of the, or let us say get password, which is the method of the parent class. And what is this get password getting? What is the attribute that get password is trying to access? It is the value of the password. So if to create an object of the child, I didn't have in my memory the private attribute password, will this be possible? I mean, will this method even work? No. So many people do this mistake in an interview. This is a very important question. Even the private attributes of a parent class do get in the objects do get in the memory of the object of the child class. The only thing is you cannot access them, but they are still present in the memory. Is that clear with everyone? They are still present in the memory. They are still present in the memory. The only thing is you cannot access them. It is a very popular interview question. Let me explain that again. Okay. So see, quick question. Instructor is a child class. User is a parent class. User has a private attribute name. Do you think from my instructor I can access the name attribute of the parent? Can I do that? No. For example, if I say this dot name, it doesn't work. Why does it not work? Because name is a private attribute and a private attribute cannot be accessed even from the children. Okay, so it doesn't work. But can I access the name attribute via, let us say, set name? And like if I do set name Naman, am I not indirectly accessing the name attribute? Yes. So if this method is working, so the name attribute must be there somewhere, right? I'm like, otherwise, how will this method work? That means the name attribute will be somewhere there in the memory. Yes, that means even though I cannot access the private attributes of a parent class, but the private attributes are still present in the memory of the child class. Is that clear with everyone? They are still present in the memory. So they will still take the space. But if there is no getter and setter, Sarik, even then there will be there in the memory. Okay. Yes. But won't it make objects very big in size if we keep down the hierarchy? Yes, Sarik, but that is the truth. That is the truth. Okay. How does this work here? What worked here, Prince? Okay, so basically this means the attribute of the current object. And obviously this instructor has a method of set name, right? And I mean, like, we can even do it without this. Even then it will work. Okay. But because instructor is a user and user has a set name, so it will work. Private destroy is a relation. Nirmal, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by this? Okay, let me explain this. Okay, so some people are asking that, okay, what is the reason for this design? Satyam, there is no reason for this design. It is default. Let me explain this to you. Okay, so this example will sound a bit cool, and let us take this example. Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay, cool. Okay. So let us say we have this attribute. We have mammals. Okay. We have human. We have dogs. We have cat. Okay. Okay. Does every mammal have a heart? Does every mammal have a heart? Yes, it has a heart, right? But is the heart of mammals public? No, right? It's private. It's private, right? Okay. So does that mean human, dogs, and cats should not have a heart? Clear? Now is it clear with everyone? That, okay, even the private attributes are present in the object of the child classes. Even if you didn't, even if you cannot access them, they are still present in the child classes. Okay. Is this clear with everyone? Is this clear with everyone? Okay. So I hope now it's clear with everyone. Okay. That even if the attributes are private, then still they are present. Okay. Because they are part of the entity. They are a part of the entity. The entity isn't complete without them. Okay. Cool. So are we done for the today? There was one other thing that I wanted to discuss, which was constructor chaining. We can discuss them in the next class, right? So let us do one thing. In the next class, we are going to discuss. So we will have another class, Object-Oriented Programming 3, where we will discuss constructor chaining. Okay, how do constructors work for inheritance? After that, we will go to polymorphism, and then we will end the class with abstract classes and interfaces. Okay, abstract class, interface, and static. Clear? So that is all that is there to object-oriented programming. In 3 classes, we will finish object-oriented programming, everything that is there. These are also big topics, but I think in 2.5 hours we will be able to do this. Okay, but please everyone try to be there by 9:05 p.m. in the next class. We should ideally start sooner. Okay. Sagar, no, I don't think. Okay, cool. So, and one other request, please try to use the JetBrains coupon code as soon as possible. Okay. In Java, also this pointer is passed in as an implicit first parameter for the instance method. Yes, Chetan, yes. What will be the access modifier of members inherited from the parent? Wasim, it will be the same access modifier as it was there in the parent. Okay. So access modifier same as the parent gets inherited. Okay. And you will see that why in polymorphism. Okay, now do we have an assignment? There was an assignment for the last batch, right? There was an assignment for the last class. It was there, correct? In today's class, we will not have an assignment. We don't have much to cover today. In the next class, we will have them when we will have the case study. So there will be one case study as an assignment of the next class. Okay. Yes, super and all. Neverji. In your example for mammals, heart will be public, right? As they are available for all the child classes. Vivekanand, no, that is what I explained. Even though the heart is private, it is there in all the classes. Okay, you cannot access them directly, you cannot access the heart directly, but it is there. That is what I meant. Okay, heart is there, the heart object is going to be there in the human. The only thing is you cannot access the heart object. Clear, Vivekanand? Is that clear, Vivekanand? Or should I unmute you? Someone has raised their hand. I'm not sure who raised their hand. Can you please send a message again? Whoever wants to get unmuted or discuss something, please feel free to raise their hand. Okay, and I have also started the doubt session. Feel free to leave the session if you don't have any other doubts. Okay. Okay, Suhas, let me unmute you. Hello.
Hi, Naman.
Sandeep in language module, that will be there. Okay. Yes, hi Suhas.
Hi, Naman. Naman, so you were saying that private restricts the access to a class, right? So how does JVM exactly know how to restrict it to that particular?
So JVM actually doesn't do that. Compiler does that, right? Because the code is written in the compiler. Compiler will not allow a code to compile that is trying to access a private attribute or a non-otherwise visible attribute of a class. So compiler will not even allow that code to compile. So it is not managed at the runtime. It is being managed at the compile time.
It's managed. Okay.
Clear?
Clear. Another question, Naman.
Yeah, please.
So if we have a private constructor in a class, so will there be any use of it as such?
If I have a private constructor, yes, there can be. There are two use cases of it. The very first use case of it, you will learn in singleton. Okay. I hope you can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
So the very first use case of private constructor will be in singleton. Okay. The second use case of private constructor you will see when we will discuss constructor chaining. Okay. And overloading. Okay. So because one constructor, one overloaded constructor can call another private constructor, something like that.
Okay.
Cool?
Okay. Sure.
Any other question?
No, man. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yes. Hi, Naman. The job section in the dashboard is very user-friendly. Is there an update coming there? Navajit, not really sure. Please better ping to support. Okay, ping support at the dateofscaler.com. Can constructor be declared in private? Yes, a constructor can also be private because see, constructor is nothing but a method. If a method can be private, a constructor can also be private. Simple. Okay. Where are primitive types stored in memory? Like integer, we have static int, an instance int, and a method local int. They are all stored on stack, right? Yes, Radha. They are all stored on the stack. Yes. The static attributes actually sometimes get stored in the code section as well, but still on the stack. Okay, they don't get stored in the heap memory. Cool. Awesome. Cool. And by the way, still Radha, one more thing to your question. It is also language dependent. Okay, some languages do also end up storing the static attributes also in the heap. Depends language to language. So code section. Okay, code section is also a part of the stack only. Code section is also a part of the stack. So it is in the stack in Java. Okay. So in Java, stack also has multiple things: code section, then it is, I think, function stack, function call stack. So those things. So the static attributes get stored in the code section. Private constructor, I think it also gets used when we have to make the custom classes immutable. Yes, Sanket. So that is what we will learn in singleton thing, basically. But sir, constructors don't have a return type, so how can it be private? Yes, you will see that. Wait for the classes to come, okay? I mean, we haven't finished constructor completely. So yes, wait for some time. So in design patterns, we will actually create a private constructor and then you will understand this part. Awesome. Any other question or are we done? So let me quickly push this code. Let me push the code for today. Git add dot git commit m. It's not working. Somehow my code is not working. Okay. There is a question by Jitendra. What is planned for 9+ years experience who has experience other than Java stack like .NET? Jitendra, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by the plan? What do you mean by plan? Yes, I mean, like, we do have opportunities for that, Jitendra. You don't need to worry about opportunities. We do have, I mean, the best example I can take is one of the students who had 12+ years of experience and actually got referred to multiple companies as an engineering manager and even an IC at Google for L6, L7. Okay. So, yes, one of our actually students, I don't exactly remember their name, Abhimanyu was telling to me about them. He actually got into Google, I think, as an L6 or an L7. So, yes, we do have those things. Okay. Don't worry. And a class 2 constructors, access modifiers, and inheritance. Okay, cool. Yes, I'm publishing the URL. Monday session going to be extra session, or are we also going to cover Solid on Monday? Sanket, I think we will try to finish OOP on Monday, and we will cover Solid in the 4th class. Solid is one class is enough. Okay, pretty sure about that. If these basics are very clear to you, everyone, I think Solid can be easily covered in one class. And even after that, the design patterns will be much easier. So earlier we used to teach a lot of object-oriented programming in the design pattern classes, but since the last few batches, I'm seeing that the prior learning of the batch is very different. So that is why object-oriented programming we have increased in the first 3 classes. Okay, so that the other classes become a bit more smoother. Okay. Yes, Jitendra. Monday session going to be exercise. Yes, that's answered. What is L6, L7? L6 is like an SD4. L6 is like an SD4. L5 is a director level at Google. So my manager at Google was L7, which is a director. L6 is a staff software engineer at Google. So in Google, L5 is senior, L6 is staff, L7 is director, L8 is VP. Chetan, static is going to be discussed in the next class, so please wait for the next class, okay? In the next class, you can see static is one of the sections, okay? Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Have a good weekend ahead. I mean, the requirement for L5 is normally 5+ years of experience, okay? 5+ years of experience in a product-based company, L5. Awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye. For 17 years, I think you should, I mean, like, if you have 15, if you have so much years of experience in a product-based company, you should ideally apply at, I think, L6, L7. L6, so definitely, I think you should try. Bye-bye.